right, we're live. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Patrick Mahoney is joining now.
Right.
So it's just me and Patrick today. And thanks for joining the Bird Dog Breakdown. This is our 9th episode. We do this every week, every Friday at 11:30 Eastern Time, 8:30 Pacific. And our whole goal around this um, is to help give feedback, give some training, give some insight into how we're looking at mobile home parks and RV parks, and other deals too that we're looking at. So fix and flips, things like that too might come into play. But a lot of the things that most of what we're focused on right now is RV parks and mobile home parks, and so we get a lot of deal submissions, which we very much appreciate, and so we want to we like to use this to answer any questions, and then go through things that from deals that have been recently sent, the things that have been helpful, the things that we would say needs to be improved, and ultimately, like, we want to use this as a way to help sharpen your skill set as a bird dog, if that's what you're going after, or you're hunting for deals. Like, what are things that Patrick and I have done, and things that we have been able to work on over the years and getting better at what we're doing. And so ultimately it'll uh help you get better traction, and depending on what your goals are in this. So hopefully that's helpful. And yeah, Patrick, do you want to give like a intro of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. So I am in Northern California. I'm also in Owners Club with Bobby. Bobby and I met, oh gosh, two years ago, or I think 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Doing when Pace first started the No One Left Behind challenge. I couldn't go, so I got to choose Bobby to go. But yeah, reconnected with Bobby in Owners Club and really share a passion for mobile home parks and RV parks and commercial real estate. And so, a little background about me: I'm a real estate agent, really focusing on value add opportunities within the park space. So RV parks and mobile home parks, um, specifically, well, kind of nationwide, but more specific to a few key select states. One of them being in Florida, where Bobby's at, and a couple other states, but really looking for not only the tourist type park for like RV parks, but also more of um, the mobile home park space, where it's more of like long term stuff. So really looking for opportunities that are under managed and under just poor performing parks that we could get in and operationally improve. Infill is also an opportunity, but it could be a little bit more challenging with like strong infill on like mobile home parks. So really looking for opportunities to get in, ideally using creative financing, but not a deal killer if it's not. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Um, yeah, and yeah, I mean, meeting the No One Left Behind challenge was awesome. And I've texted you multiple times too about just how appreciative I am of it, because it's allowed me to meet a lot of awesome people that I still work with to this day, right? And like Ingryd being one of them, getting to meet her in person, um, and then Monica, who is not on today. She won't be able to join today, but she was on my No One Left Behind team in November as well. And so we've stayed connected since then, and now are looking to buy parks together, all of us. So it's kind of cool how this stuff works. And honestly, I think that's the beautiful thing about the community and Sub 2, and just realizing when you go to these events in person, or you get an opportunity like this, or just even connecting in the Zooms and everything, like, you're gonna meet people. I mean, all my friends now are in Sub 2.
Great.
Honestly, it's awesome, and I work with a lot of West Coasters, so I'm like, it works for me. I'm up late while you guys are like just getting into the evening.
Just
Um,
eating dinner.
yeah, yep. So cool. So now we get some intros, I want to talk through, just give an overview of, again, of our buy box. So the whole purpose of this is, as a bird dog or as somebody that's hunting, trying to send deals, the most important thing is understanding your buyer, what they're looking for, what they want, how they like things to be presented. And for the most part, in RV parks and mobile home parks, buyers, they're all looking for the same thing, in terms of not the actual characteristics, but like the buy box criteria we have listed, right? Like I have it listed on my site, bobbysbuybox.com. And do you have a site, Patrick? Yeah, with
I'm
yours?
building it. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
building it
cool.
right now, but it's not up and running.
Cool, sweet. So yeah, we have different criteria in terms of pad count, like minimum pad count, or location to metro areas, or utilities, like maybe no waste treatment plants, or maybe we'd be okay with that. We have certain criteria, and that's going to change. But ultimately, when you're sending in deals, the most important thing, I universally, is like, have a conversation with the broker or the seller, just to kind of get a good idea. You don't have to, but it definitely helps us to understand a bit more. And at least the way like I compensate for bird dogs is based on effort, right? So you can get paid. You can get paid very minimally if you do minimal work, but I can also, like, we can pay 1%, like we can pay a good amount for an acquisition fee depending on how the deal is comes through, if there is effort there, where they're calling the broker, you're calling the seller, you're having the conversations, you're finding maybe the motivation or the pain points, you're going back and doing some follow-up, like that to me is absolutely worth paying 1.5%, again, depending on of the actual purchase price as an acquisition, or bird dog fee. And so there is that. Have the conversation, probably is the most important thing. Just pick up the phone and have a call. Don't just pull from Crexy or LoopNet. You can, but again, we have deals being sent to us. I actually just looked, and we have 110 deals that were been sent to us in the
Wow.
last 60 days. Yeah, and which is amazing. Like, I'm so grateful for that. And it's I've said this for anybody that's been on here and heard, is like, it's definitely tested our process and our systems. And Patrick and I have been talking about how we're going to be building out a CRM to be able to handle a lot of these intakes. But the most important thing is, when you have that conversation, get the financials, like and that means like the P&L, profit and loss, ideally the last 3 years of P&L, at a minimum 2024, the full year, and then a T12, right, the last 12 months. And then rent roll is important too. I'll look at that. Like, if they don't have it, it's not a deal breaker, but the P&L, I would say, is probably the most important. And then if there's an offering memorandum, that helps give some good insight into the park. If it's off market, that there's not going to be one, that's
Right.
fine. But the most information you can provide up front will allow us to prioritize it and analyze it, get to underwriting it much quicker, so we can get you feedback much quicker. Any thoughts or any like additional things that you'd say from somebody submitting a deal? What would be an important notes or important documents or anything like that that you would feel maybe I missed?
No, I think that sums it up. I think the real item is it, when evaluating a commercial property like a mobile home park and an RV park, it's not like your residential, like a single family house where, it's evaluated based off what other things in the area are selling. It's really gonna come down to how the business performs, because they're more of like a business, right? They generate revenue, but there's so many different things you can do to increase revenue, like net revenue, decrease expenses. So it really comes down to those items, the profit and loss statement. Typically, ideally for the last 3 years, so we can see a trend, if it's decreasing over time, if it's steadily increasing over time, if it's staying flat. It gives you the whole picture of how it's currently operating with that owner. And then a T12, which, if you're mid-year, like let's say it's July, it would go from July of 24 to July of 25. So like the last 12 months. super helpful because that gives you the most up-to-date info. But yeah, if it's direct to seller, it won't be there won't be an operating memorandum most likely. Um, so some info that I like to get too from bird dogs is, just like a quick synopsis of why they're selling, like what's got their interest in selling, kind of just gives me a background of, what we're kind of looking at when we go into this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It really comes down to the financials.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually, I had a conversation with a bird dog yesterday that sent a deal, and it was good because I think as you're going through this too, right? Like if you're unsure, submit it anyways, and have a conversation, right? Like I think it's all about learning, which this is what this is live is for, too. But um, so for example, talking with a bird dog yesterday, she brings the deal. Um, and I believe it's off market. And she sent the P&L, but it's only for the last 9 months, right, of this year, and it has a lot of details on it. But there's no real rent roll, and it's not a T12. There's no like the trailing 12 months or a P&L for the full 2024. I asked for that as a follow up, but it was good because she was asking me a bunch of questions because I was like, hey, where's the value add opportunities here? Because this is off market. Like, just give me a good sense of that. And while I don't expect her to know all of that, but there's some key things that you could ask around that. Like, is there room to expand the park? Are they charging back for utilities, which they were on seeing on the P&L? You could see that they were. So that was good. Now, apparently there was laundry facilities on site that was bringing income, but it wasn't being reported on the P&L. So I asked for more details. Also, there was another source of income, restaurant. And so that was also not there, which I know sometimes it's on a different schedule. Like that's fine, but I would need to know that because the price that the seller wants is nowhere near, like based on the NOI the park is showing, right? And so to me, I'm like, okay, there must be a reason why. Maybe they're sometimes they're just overpriced. But if I know if I have the income from all the sources of income and then all the expenses, and I need it for the last 12 months, T12, and then all of 2024, like now it'll give me a good sense of like month over month, what does income and expenses look like? And then overall, what does that look like over the course of a 12-month period? And I can get a good understanding now of the true and the net operating income across the entire business, if that's what's included with that. I say that because the bird dog that brought it was great because she already sparked up the conversation and had no problem with getting on having conversation. She's just newer to that space, so she didn't know exactly what to ask and what to make sure she had. So now she will, like going forward. I know she'll be asking for the financials, like, hey, okay, cool. Like if the seller's serious about selling, they're going to have these financials ready. And they're, get the full year, previous year P&L, get a T12 trailing 12 months. And then rent roll if they have it, and offering memorandum if they have it. Cool. And then have a conversation to kind of understand, like, why is the seller selling? Are they open to seller finance? If they have debt, like, start to kind of get some of those questions out of the way. It's easier to talk to brokers, right? Like you can be a bit more straightforward
Right.
on your questions and not have to dance around it too much. But yeah, so that was like an example of one that I'm okay with people bringing incomplete stuff, so long as like, okay, cool, I'll work with you to show you like what you should be getting, and then moving forward, now I'd love to see that that's what's being submitted.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that.
So okay, so I made some updates to my buy box from not too long ago. I'll just share my screen to give everyone an idea for those that have not seen it before. And then um Patrick, maybe I think we're pretty similar, but if you have any additional things too that you'd want to add on. Let's
Heck
see.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Share my screen here. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So the in this mobile home park, I'll show you the mobile home and RV parks. Really, they're similar, but for mobile home park, we want something that's going to cash flow right out the gate, and there's value add opportunity. Whether that's rent increases, like increasing rent to market, it, those are like low hanging fruit, right? Like all the build backs or utility build back. Let me. What are some others? It's more the low hanging fruit because we can expand and build more sites, right? But there's going to be capital involved in getting that done.
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's like increasing your income, which would be like raising rents, or decreasing your expenses, right? I think kind of the two ways you can boost your net operating income.
Mhm.
So increasing your income would be our market or are the rents below market rent, then you could raise them. And then decreasing expenses would be like utility bill back, or maybe they're spending money on advertising that's not, is kind of a waste, or they're spending money where they really shouldn't be on things.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of
Yeah.
your low hanging fruit.
For sure. Yes. Yes. And so this is, and speaking to that, right? Because when we say value add, it is like what Patrick was saying. It's all about the income. How do we increase the income or decrease expenses? Ultimately, increasing the net operating income, the NOI, right? Which is just your total income minus your total expenses, your operating expenses. And so this right here is a rule of thumb, but it's not the most important. And I kind of put that in here, right? Like if it's something that's under 150,000 NOI, that doesn't mean don't send it. If it is 150 or above, definitely send it, no matter. But and that's based on the last 12 months. If it meets the minimum like site threshold, then I'm not too concerned about this because then we're gonna be able to see like maybe it's not in a great location, and I think that's the other thing you can look for too, um, is understanding like the population, like how close is it to a metro area. That's why we say like within 45 minutes of a growing metro, 45, 60 minutes. It's really about the population within that area, and there's you can go and look that up. You can chat GPT it or Perplexity or whatever AI tool that you want to use as well for research, uh, and see like, okay, what's the population look like in this city, the surrounding cities, and what's the closest metro area, and what's that population look like. And I've seen like rules of thumb too, that so what we're looking at is like a place with like 100 150,000 or more in population in the surrounding metro area, uh, and that will usually give you a good indicator of whether or not you'll be able to fill all your sites. Now, if they're 100% occupied, if they're um, if they're fully occupied now and they have a good track record or history of that occupancy, then we'll still take a look at it. And that's why it's like, okay, is it meet the 35 site threshold? Cool. Does it make at least 150,000 NOI? If it does, send it. And if it's less than 35 sites and it's less than 150, don't send it. Like it's unlikely that it's gonna be we're gonna take it on, right? And just because we have a lot of deals being sent, it's our way of being able to at least deprioritize. And maybe if there's a lot of great opportunity here that we're not seeing, like just still feel free to send it. It never hurts to send it. You just might get a response pretty quickly if it doesn't meet any of these thresholds, at least for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think for me, my big thing is like within that growing metro, you have to have a decent population because that's where you're going to find your tenants. If you only have a small town of 1,000 people and you have somebody move out, it's going to be really hard to find that. It could be really hard to find somebody to fill that unit. And if you don't fill the unit, then you're not making income. And so I usually look for a population that has 25 to 30,000 or more, and within that, I'm always looking for different types of, this is at least for me, different types of like home improvement stores. So like, does it have a Home Depot or a Lowe's or some like a Walmart? Is Walmart, are they investing in that area? Is Home Depot, is there somewhere where if we need to get stuff to rehab, mobile homes from our contractors, like can they pull from a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that? So it's got to be like a big enough city or metro. It could be on the outskirts. That's totally fine with me, but it's got to be somewhat close, within 45 minutes or half an hour of an area that has a decent population that is growing and has some, like Walmart is investing there, Home Depot is investing there, or, Lowe's. That's kind of what I look for, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into, if you got to rehab some units and you can't find, lumber, or you can't find labor, like, your population's not big enough, it's hard to find a contractor. Um, so that's kind of what I really look for. But yeah, the I think my buy box is a little bit lower on the pad minimum. I think I have 25 pads, or maybe it's 30. Um, but really, it's like you said, it's send it, and if it doesn't hurt to send it, and if it doesn't meet really high level what we're looking for, we can always just provide feedback quickly. Um, so
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's the mobile home park too. The RV park right here on this left-hand side is very similar. It's the so underperforming parks, transient and long-term, or there's an opportunity to do both. I really do. I went and visited more of a, I wouldn't say it's a resort, but it's definitely a more of a family vacation style RV park, transient, short-term stays. And they had little cabins, they had tiny homes, and then they had a bunch of RV spots, and I loved it. It was amazing. I actually took a lot of notes too, because the GM there was so on top of it, and he had a great vision, and he stayed on site, and so he came for a visit, and he ended up loving that place, getting a GM, like getting a job as the GM for that, and they're going to continue to expand and add like 70 more sites there, and it's right on the water in Crescent Lake in Florida. It's like right in between Jacksonville, Gainesville, and Orlando, and it's not for sale or anything. The seller just bought it, so that's why I'm telling you about the park, or else I would try and go after it, maybe long term, go after it. But it was such a cool experience, like open space for the kids to run around. I felt super safe. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so like having them being able to run around and feeling good about that. And the GM wants to get a food boat, not a food truck, but a food boat, and I was like, that's freaking cool. I've
that's
never
pretty
heard of
sweet.
that. Yeah, and the people there just loved it, loved being there. So I'm like, okay, I really like this. I'm gonna have the hospitality background with the short-term rentals management company, but being able to do that in an RV park instead of like single family homes is going to be uh it's going to be awesome when that time comes. And so very similar again, 150,000 NOI, 35 site minimum, um no flood zones, so that's something you can easily look up. Just doing a quick Google search and FEMA websites and all that, like you'll be able to see. um Honestly, I would absolutely search and make sure and check. Uh, I've had quite a few deals sent to me that are in flood zones, like mainly Texas and then Florida. And even if they haven't had a major flood, if they have been deemed as a property that is has a higher likelihood to flood within the next 30 years, and they have these stats on like the FEMA site, like
Hmm.
don't that just to us, it's too much of a risk, and it's not with all the other parks that are available. I have been just quickly passing on those. I kind of it's like a it's not worth it. Even if the deal is going to be really really good, it's tough for me to say, at least if we're going to buy and hold it. If we're going to flip it, or if we're going to wholesale it out to somebody else, but that would take that risk, that's fine. But I wouldn't be a buy and hold for it. It's just too risky. Like Florida, like the West Coast, East Coast, you can go on the site and find out the flood zones. Um, let's see, anything else on top of, yeah, same thing, value add. is there any operational improvements we can make, aka like cutting the expenses, or can we increase rent to market? Can we add amenities? This is like the RV parks provide more of that opportunity as well. The place that I went to had a pool membership fee, which was interesting. And so I actually haven't seen that before, but they have a pool membership fee. It's all heated and nice pool area, but you have to have a membership fee for it. And so, yeah, I see we have a question. Are you buying that nationwide? Yeah, yes. Yeah, we'll take a look at it anywhere in the US. Right? Is there anywhere that I know we typically prefer, so if for RV parks, to me, like I'd want to have a good mix of long-term tenants and a component of that to help offset if it's a seasonal park. So if it's a seasonal park, we can at least like put some long-term tenants in there, and it'll help offset, the debt service during off season.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I haven't found a place that I'm like, no way, I'm not looking at it if the deal makes sense.
Yeah. I think for me, yeah, same thing. It just kind of boils down to what the numbers work out to be. Some of the harder states like, Maine, Michigan, Wisconsin, Montana, Wyoming up there, North Dakota, they're heavy in snow, so they are very seasonal. So sometimes your operating season can be as little as like, you know, May to October or May to September even. So but it really depends on what type of value add, what do the financials look like, what can we do at the park, and can we sustain the debt that we're going to take on to the property. But for me, I have no preference as to where these parks, where we own them.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any, and I know you have like a call for a broker in a couple minutes here. Is there any other questions, everybody? Like we wanted to go to do this live to break down, talk through the things that we are seeing to try and help you all, and what you're looking for and how to submit it and how to work with your buyer. Is there any questions or anything that you'd like me to try and walk through, show, like if you're a bird dog hunting for deals, maybe where do you go for it? Maybe that'll be helpful if you're like really brand new and you're not exactly sure the best route in order to find parks. I can tell you rarely, like if it goes to Crexy and LoopNet, a lot of the times it's not going to be a deal because, right, like a lot of these brokers, they'll have their buyers that they prefer, like they'll send it out to them, and that everybody else passed on this, and so they put it on LoopNet Crexy most of the time. But that doesn't mean we can't structure something creatively. Maybe it doesn't work for a traditional like offer, but if we can come in and do something to get the seller what they need, it's not impossible to get it off Crexy and LoopNet. It's just higher likelihood that it's not going to be a good fit, right?
Right.
Facebook groups though are good. I think the best bet is to go try and get off market deals or get like pocket listings. And the way you do that is use Crexy and LoopNet to find brokers, call the brokers and start to establish a relationship with the brokers. Yeah. And that way you can start to build up with the brokers, let them know like you have a buyer that's actively looking. And that way we can go from sorry, my daughter just so we can I forgot even what I was saying. Oh, so you can start to establish the relationships with the brokers so that they can start to send you things little by little over time, because it's not going to happen. You're more like hunting whales, right? So the relationships that you build with the brokers, I think, are going to be more important. Like Patrick has established a lot of great relationships with brokers and people that are moving the deals, and he's constantly on the phone with them to kind of nurture that relationship, and that's how you get like the pocket listings, or you get these off market deals. So yeah, Sean says, Warrior at the Wall. What's your first name? Curious. Because you said, where should I start? Which we can I'll dive into that in a second. So Sean, how long can I expect an answer on pass or dig further if I submit a lead? So our goal is to get it done within 24 to 48 hours. That's a goal. Like I said, we have a lot of deals that have been submitted, and Patrick is. I've been sending over some to Patrick too because we've been working through this together to try and underwrite and get through these quicker. So the goal is 24 to 48 hours. We don't always hit that. I do send an email like once you send it to kind of explain the expectations on it, but sometimes we're longer than that. And so trying to put some stuff into place to where at least you can be notified, like, hey, if we're not going to be able to get to it in 24 to 48 hours, then you can expect to hear from us. It's not falling into a void. We have them all in our CRM, and it's just about going through and prioritizing them. And so, yeah, if you're patiently waiting for us to get back to you, we will. We are trimming down the list and working through them. Oh, Armando, cool. Hopefully that answers Sean, helps. All right, Armando, where should I start? So one is know your buyers, right? Like I just shared the buy box. If you didn't see it, bobbysbuybox.com. Get a good feel for understanding what we're looking for an RV park and mobile home park. We have a bunch of these. This is the 9th live. I put 4 up. This is the 9th live that we've had. So I have a lot of great information that we've talked through in previous ones that really help break down of the things that we're looking for, like some of the deals that we get submitted, why it doesn't work for us, or how do you submit when you finally get all that information. Like I started off, I'm not sure if you're here in the beginning, but what to ask for when you're talking with the broker, like, and you'll get better and better as you have these conversations. Just pick up the phone, like start with Crexy and LoopNet if you want. Also Facebook groups, like start to join these Facebook groups with the RV parks and mobile home parks. And you'll see a bunch of postings and start to have conversations, get familiar with some of the terminology, and just start to build relationships with the brokers. Patrick, do you have anything that you'd say too for someone that's just getting started?
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways you could do it. So if you're brand new and you don't have a lot of experience to like real estate in general, I think the best thing to do would be to do some research on, obviously talk with your buyers, like Bobby said, get to know what they're specifically looking for. Oftentimes a buyer, buyers like us are more than happy to explain, exactly what we're looking for and explain in detail what different things are, like what a profit and loss statement is. And I bring people and I'll do Zooms with people and I'll underwrite deals for like live for them to show them, like why these numbers are important or what it's telling us. But it's also just networking. So, there's different Facebook groups for like RV park investors or mobile home park investors. You can go to like Crexy and just call brokers, even if you don't understand what you're asking or saying. Just call brokers and just get to know them and get the feel for talking with brokers. There's also, if you want, you can. Sometimes what I do is I literally I'll go and I'll cold call parks that I'm interested in buying, and I'll try to get a hold of the seller and just ask them if they're looking to sell. I mean, that's one of the easiest things that you can do without any experience, is just calling and saying, "Hey, are you interested in selling?" And if they say yes, you say, "Great. Well, how about I connect you with my senior partner or one of my partners who, does more of the financial stuff or whatever." But that's, one of the easiest things that you could do is literally just picking up a phone and asking if they're interested in selling. But as far as the education portion goes and like really understanding underwriting, that's just going to take time, and it's going to take you taking the action to network with some of these buyers, ask them to go on a Zoom with you and underwrite, ask them to explain, what it is that they're looking for from you. And then over time, you'll just start to build that repetition. You'll start to build that, Rolodex of information. And soon enough, you'll just know what you're doing. And then it'll be like, you know, putting peanut butter on bread. It's just going to get the information and you're going to put it on there. So hopefully that helps, Armando.
All right, cool. Yeah, Armando, if you have any follow-up questions too, and when in doubt, just just submit a deal anyways, and submit the deal anyways, and we'll be able to get back to you. Oh, Dust. Okay. Oh, Sean. Yeah, Dustin. Yeah, Dustin did send one. He did send one for us to review. I know we did take a look at it. But the AZ one too, I haven't heard about since. I guess that's more of a long-term follow-up. I actually think, Sean, I don't know if you jumped on. I haven't connected with Monica since, I mean, last night, but we just closed on a house in Texas, and so we had conversations around that. But with what I was thinking too, because I'm never able to make those calls on the late afternoon calls for me. We should be definitely getting on a call to go through underwriting, and so I wanted to talk with Monica about that too, so that we can like have a live underwriting session through the deals that you guys are submitting. That way you can kind of see just for the ones that you've submitted, and Dustin too, if he wants to come. But if you haven't connected with him, I haven't talked with him directly in probably a couple weeks now. But yeah, so okay, cool. Any other questions? Anything that we can help with? We do have some calls lined up this afternoon. Patrick's got some calls. I do have underwriting that I'll be doing this afternoon. And I know, Patrick, we should definitely catch up on some of the parks, because I've gotten a couple of responses that I want to run by you on some parks, just to let you all know. I don't have to give away the information, but we submitted a deal. We submitted an offer on a park in Florida, and I really like the offer. It's owned free and clear, and it's an RV park, and the NOI is super low. The revenue's super high. So the income coming in, like, really, it's 500,000 plus in income. Expenses are also about 500,000 plus, and so you want to sit like at a 40-50%, even if you're back of the napkin, 50% expense ratio, and so they're at like a 95% expense ratio. So and you can see why when you look at like what they're spending their money on in the expenses. There's opportunity there, but they're priced at a point where, like most of these parks, they're priced based on pro forma and not what they're actually doing today. And so pro forma meaning what they are projected to do when you come in and you optimize everything and you do what you need to do to it. But that takes capital, it takes time. And so we're coming in, we're buying a business. We're going to offer based on like what it's actually doing today, or find somewhere in the middle. But anyways, we made a great offer. I think I talked about this where like the interest is built into the end purchase price. So it's a 0% interest, but we've just basically baked it into the purchase price to justify the idea of paying at a higher purchase price that they're trying to get to. We were able to bake in the interest that we would have paid anyways over a 7-year period into the purchase price. And they liked the offer, but they want a lot more down. Like, they want like over $1 million down instead of the $400,000 down that we offered. So now, again, like maybe do a lease option to allow us time to raise the NOI, because a bank's going to look at that. Like, because if we could do a stack method or Morby method where we get a DSCR loan and cover his high down payment, and then he seller carries the remaining, his equity, we could do that. But the bank is going to like, okay, cool. Is there enough income? Like, what's the income on it? Does it have enough to cover the debt? And it doesn't. Like, there's not enough to justify the price in which they're looking for. So the only way I could think is like give us a lease option, or one way I could think is give us a lease option for 9 to 12 months, maybe even more, at least time for it to season, to where we can come in, what can we do to dramatically, like, to increase the NOI by, 100,000. We'll have to come in and dramatically do that, like drastically make changes to the expenses to cut that down enough time, at least 9 months, so that we can then refinance and get a DSCR to pay off it, like to then do a Morby method. So that's my thought. We've attempted that offer a couple of times. I think it's a great alternative if someone's really wanting a high down payment. They'll just have to wait 9 to 12 months, and it's not on us. It's the bank. Like, a bank won't. What can we do? The bank's not going to finance it because you haven't been running the park effectively. The income, the NOI is not there based on what you're saying the price of the park is. So I'm having a conversation with that broker today about that offer. So I basically just gave you the update, and I'll give you more of the update and like the details behind it. But yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Or Patrick, is there anything that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think that was it. I'm going to call this broker in a minute and have a conversation with him.
Awesome. All right, cool. Sweet. Well, we have been on for 45 minutes. If there's no other questions, feel free to, if you think of something, feel free to reach out to us. If you have our numbers, cool. If not, Instagram. What's the best? Is Instagram a good place for people to reach out to you, Patrick, or do you have another?
No, Instagram's great. It's at Patrick Mahoney _REI.
Okay, cool.
Again, it's my first name, last name, Patrick Mahoney _REI.
Patrick Mahoney _REI. And then at Bobby Souza on Instagram. Is this it, Patrick? Hold on. Let me check.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right. So reach out on Instagram. If you have any other questions, please let us know. And are the car wash deals still a priority? Yes, it is. Yeah. And Michael, I believe you sent me one yesterday too, right? Or two. Yes, it's still a priority. Anything that's actively on that buy box for my site is a priority for me. Now, let me see on my car wash, because I thought I guess I didn't. I need to make that update, because I'm focused more on South Florida, because I would like it in my backyard, because it's not impossible for us. We'll find somebody out there, boots on the ground in Texas, I think is where you sent the land. We can find boots on the ground out there. So yes, it's still a priority. It's actually an easier one for us to evaluate. So I'll be able to get back to you on that later today. Alrighty. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. See ya.